David O. Russell's crime drama American Hustle could be a big winner at Sunday's Academy Awards. But for the movie's many international fans, it may take a little longer to realize it. In their country, there is simply no word that captures the true essence of hustle. So in Israel the film is known in Hebrew as American Dream. In France, it's translated as American Bluff. In Argentina, it's American Scandal. In Portugal, it's American Sting. In Quebec, it's American Scam. In Spain, it's the Great American Scam. And in Turkey, it's merely known as Trickster. Get the Times of Israel's daily edition by email and never miss our top stories free. Sign up. Big Hollywood films have immediate name recognition in the United States. But in the rest of the world, moviegoers are long accustomed to their respective countries translating the titles with their own, often quirkier names. Observers say there is often a need to reframe a linguistic expression or a cultural phenomenon that may be foreign to non-American ears. Sometimes the distributors orchestrate the name shift to create familiarity, stir a local buzz and attract more viewers. Other times, nonsensical translations simply defy logic. Ari Baruch, whose public relations company represents the studios of Fox, Disney and Sony in Israel, said that in this era of globalization, the trend is to try to stick as much as possible to the original title, particularly with blockbusters and well-branded superheroes like Batman and Superman. Other times, a literal translation does the trick just fine. But the bottom line is money, and if the name doesn't work locally, he said Hollywood studios are more than happy to adapt. That's how his firm came up with one of the strangest Hebrew translations in recent years, turning the animated comedy flick Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs into an Israeli version called It's Raining Falafel. Meatballs are not something Israelis relate to, Baruch said, noting that falafel was a better equivalent of a local food staple. In Turkey, the title apparently translated just fine and the film was renamed Raining Kofta, a local version of the meatball. While the Hebrew film lacked any reference to fried balls of chickpeas, Baruch said the strategy paid off and the movie did well at the box office. Ditto for Silver Linings Playbook, which he helped translate into Optimism is the name of the game. In France, for example, the film was renamed Happiness Therapy. We always try to stay true to the source, he said. When we can't do that, we insist on maintaining the spirit of the movie. The results are often amusing. No one can quite explain how Terminator became Deadly Mission, Alien turned into The Eighth Passenger, or Top Gun morphed into Love in the Skies. Even the movie Lost in Translation was literally lost in translation. It was called Lost in Tokyo. Top Gun you don't have in Hebrew. When you want to say to a pilot he is good, you say he is an ace, said Avi Ederi, deputy chief executive of the new Lineo cinema chain in Israel. Hebrew is a difficult language. It's not as rich as English sometimes, and you cannot translate word by word all the time. It's hardly a unique phenomenon. In France, the Dukes of Hazzard became Sheriff, Make Me Afraid, and The Hangover is known as Very Bad Trip. The French have a tendency to add titillating titles to subpar movies to spark interest. So Step Up is known as Sexy Dance, and No Strings Attached became Sexy Friends. In Germany, Woody Allen's classic Annie Hall was called The Urban Neurotic. The war comedy Stripes was called I Think Him Being Kissed by an Elk, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was titled Forget Me Not. In Italy, they called it If You Leave Me, I Delete You. Turkey also transformed There's Something About Mary into Oh Mary, and Erin Brockovich into Sweet Trouble. Emre Gula, who writes about cinema for Turkey's Hurriyet Daily News, said the distributor probably used the word sweet to describe Julia Roberts in her Oscar-winning performance. Had Gwyneth Paltrow played the part, he said, the Turkish translation would probably be Elegant Trouble. In Japan, George Clooney's Up in the Air was translated into Mileage, My Life. In China, The Full Monty, a comedy about a group of unemployed men who form a striptease act, was called Six Naked Pigs and Boogie Nights. The story of a young man becoming a porn star was renamed His Great Device Makes Him Famous. Yehuda Stav, a veteran Israeli movie critic, said that in Israel the names are actually less absurd than they used to be, but the logic remains the same. It is done in a clear and decisive manner in order to draw people to the movie theaters, he said. They are looking for something catchy or funny, even if it is ridiculous. For example, the title of Paul Newman's 1978 comedy Slapshot, about a bungling minor league hockey team, was considered so obscure in Israel at the time that it was simply renamed Paul Newman and His Gang. Apparently, this kind of transformation is also common just north of the American border. In the French-speaking Canadian province of Quebec, Woody Allen's 1973 sci-fi comedy Sleeper was turned into Woody and the Robots. For some, the phenomenon is no laughing matter. Danny Wath, an archivist at the Tel Aviv Cinematheque, a local art house theater, said the crude altering of titles was an insult to the genre. "We are talking about a work of art here. No one would dare change the name of a novel or a theater production, but in film for some reason it is allowed," he bemoaned. "A ridiculous name is indeed humorous, but I have a hard time being forgiving about this. It is not dignified." Copyright 2014 The Associated Press.